My guest this morning is Dr. Tertius Venter. He is a plastic and reconstructive surgeon who was in private practice for 16 years in Pretoria and Cape Town, South Africa. In 2001, he volunteered on board a mercy ship, and his life would be forever changed. In 2006, he gave up his successful private practice and now serves and volunteers full-time with mercy ships and Operation Smile. Tertius is currently biking across the U.S. to raise support and draw awareness of the global need to help people desperately in need of simple surgery procedures. Please welcome with me Dr. Tertius Venter. Hi, Tertius, welcome. So you have really an amazing story. You were a private practice doctor, and one day you volunteered on a mercy ship, and your life would change forever.
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home and been a Christian all my life, and then God just tremendously blessed me with a wonderful family. Practice went well. I was happy in my work, had more material possessions than I ever dreamt I would have. But still, there was something lacking, and I really asked God, what is it? I don't believe I'm just being blessed for myself. There must be more in life than just me. So I kept on praying to God, and then the Anastasis Mercy Ship, which is a hospital ship serving the poor in the world, came into our port, and I just knew in my heart I had to sign up. And I went to Gambia, which is in the far part of West Africa near Senegal. Mm-hmm. Short 10-day visit that changed my life completely. I had a very intimate encounter with God. And in a 5-minute period, my life was totally changed, and I was just overwhelmed by His love and by His presence, and His love compels me to just carry on living for Him.
So you had some great encounter in, do you say Nambia?
Gambia.
Oh, Gambia.
Gambia.
And what was this encounter?
Well, I was just sitting alone, having quiet time out on the deck, under the, this heavy impression of the poor that I met there. I never knew people were so poor in the world and had such big needs. And realizing by looking them in the eyes and talking to them that the only difference between me and them was where we were born, which is just grace. But the needs are the same. And also by the Christians that just serve these people out of love and at their own expense. And sitting there and just asking God, because I also had a heart to bring God to atheists and people who didn't believe in Him. So I was really praying in all honesty, why can't I see you, God? Why are you this God that's not visible? And I was just suddenly overwhelmed with His presence and love. And I just heard Him in my heart and head say, but I'm too holy for you to see me, but my presence and my love will be with you. Mm. And that closeness, that intimate closeness of God just changed my life forever. And went home, suddenly all my material possessions had no meaning anymore, and I just wanted to spend time with God.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, there are many saints and other spiritual writers who've had that same experience, like Augustine and Pascal, who are both intellectuals that believed in God but sort of lacked that deeper experience, and both of them had this conviction of heart. I think John Wesley said his heart was strangely warmed. So you have others who have this encounter with God that's much more than a cognitive, rational sort of, or tradition or religion. It was a deep, you got that, right? You got that, and it changed your life.
Yeah, I never knew, and I always felt uncomfortable with the words, I'm in love with God. I heard that in songs and always didn't quite understand that, but after that night, I really felt I was in love with God. I just couldn't spend enough time with Him.
And you took it home too, right? So this affected your personal life in a big way.
It affected my life. My wife wasn't there. She didn't have the experience. So I was really a different person when I got home. So we had because I then felt I was called full-time to give up my life and follow Christ.
Yeah, but you don't live life alone, so you got to get...
Yeah, so He also said wait, not to go immediately. And there are often good reasons for God, spiritual growth, my family to understand my call. So it took about 6 years before I felt released to close my practice and actually start doing it full-time.
And so you've just been doing that full-time now. And now to make it even better, to grab onto, this is really trending right now, but you're actually touring right now biking to raise awareness for many of the needs.
Yeah, I really felt God has called me to do that. I was going to go to Guinea, which is in West Africa, and where Ebola is at the moment. I was going to go there last year, and at the last minute, the ship's visit there was cancelled, and my 2-month visit to the ship was cancelled. And I had this extra time called to go to Cameroon to work with PACS. That's a Pan-African Academy for Christian Surgeons. We train surgeons in Africa for Africa. And I didn't have the money to go. And then this whole idea of doing a cycle tour to raise money.
You started in Times Square, right?
Yeah, well, this one, I did the first one in Europe.
Okay.
And raised money, and I went to Cameroon, and then a second one in South Africa, just quadrupling the distance every time. And when I completed the South African one, I thought, okay, I can do the US one.
That's great. And people are responding?
They are responding, yeah. I mean, my main purpose is really to tell people about the global surgical need, because 1 out of 3 people in the world has got no access to surgical care whatsoever. So if you have a burn contracture or a burn wound, if you have acute appendix, if you fall out of a tree and you break your arm, there's nowhere you can go.
Yeah.
And it kills millions of people. And it just needs surgery people to go and to do that. So it's raising that awareness, and then obviously also fundraising.
Yeah, great. How exciting. That's wonderful. How can we support you while you're doing this, by the way? I mean, if we want to follow you or get behind you, I mean, do you have...
Our website is cyclemilesforsmiles.org. And, you know, when we operate in these patients and we see them coming in because they've got no hope, because they've been walking for years with big tumors and big contractures that they can't use their limbs, or have a facial tumor growing, and they've got no hope for future. And we can come there and say, well, you're important to us. We're reaching out to you, and we treat you because you're important in God's sight. And you see the difference afterwards, how that lifeless eyes, how it just changes into a big smile. So our campaign is really to put smiles on hearts and faces, and that's why we call it Cycle Miles for Smiles.
Well, you're absolutely the type of person who is living in the Father's world, who your heart breaks for the things that breaks the heart of God. And I think that you're an example to many doctors and many professionals who maybe are doing well in their career but want to do something more, to take a risk for God and do something great for others, even if it doesn't have personal financial benefit. I mean, that's just a wonderful thing and a wonderful example you're making for all of us. We're so thankful for you, Dr. Venter. And what is, you know, as we finish, there's millions of people listening who are probably going to be very impressed with your example. What is the one thing you would say to everyone who's listening?
You know, we all know that very well-known verse in Jeremiah 29:11 that says, I know the plans I have for you, to prosper you and not to harm you, if you follow me with all of your heart. And I think that is what we must always remember. If we surrender to God, He will have a plan. He does have a plan for us. And that is what we need to follow, is just to give our lives totally to Him, and we will be amazed of what He can do with us. And that has got nothing to do with age. He can use us up to any age and keep on using us if we're just willing to follow Him.
That is a word from the Lord. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tertius Venter. We're so glad that you came here, and we're so honored to have you with us, and we'll be praying for you, and we believe in what you're doing. Let's give him a hand and thank him again for all that you're doing. God bless you. Thank you, brother.